Be sure to fill out witness forms and state your name and your who you're affiliated with and your expertise. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is George Parker. I'm a 25-year mathematics teacher in middle school. Those of you who've been in middle schools, you know what that means. I've taught 25 years in the District of Columbia Public Schools. I'm also former president of the Washington Teachers Union. And during our last contract, we dealt with a lot of these issues that I've looked at when I've looked at this bill. I want to speak briefly, though, because of the time, about one issue that is heavy on my heart that I've been a very strong proponent of, and that is the removal of Lifo as the determining factor whenever you have to have a reduction in force. Now, I'm sure that hearing that coming from a former union president may sound very strange, but I think that when we talk about what do we need to change the quality of education in this country, when, as a math teacher, when I look at us rating as number 25th in the world, that we have to do some things to ensure that we have the best quality teachers in front of our students, whether that's from a union, whether that's from educational leaders or whatever. That fact remains that we want the best possible teacher in front of our students. And even as a union president, Lifo impedes that, because Lifo says the only determining factor we are going to use to determine how to get the best quality teacher in front of a student is how long have you been teaching. And that is not realistic. Right. So I think that if we're talking about really wanting to put the best teachers in front of our students, then we have to remove Lifo as the sole factor. Now, what we did in the district is that we didn't get rid of it totally, but we reduced it from 100% to 10%, to say that if teachers have to go, then we want to make sure that we're going to keep the best teachers in front of our students. And my philosophy as a union president was always, look, if I have 4,000 teachers, give me 4,000 of the best and the brightest. And so then, in order to increase student achievement, it's important that student performance and that teacher performance is the basis upon which we decide how do we ensure that we have the best teachers in front of our students. So I'm here to encourage you to remove Lifo as the main factor in determining teacher quality, in determining what teachers should go and what teachers should stay, if we're really serious about making sure we put the best teachers in front of our students. With the time limit, I don't know if I get a chance to talk about any of the others, so I'll leave it to that. I did want to talk about performance pay a little bit, but with the 3 minutes, I may not be able to do that.
You were just about up, so you've wrapped up. Is there any questions? One question? Okay, Representative McNary.
I just wanted to get your perspective on what you think is the proper mix. This bill calls for 50% of the evaluation being determined by performance of the students, and then other factors, right, the other 50%. I'm asking you, what, in your view, what is the right mix?
Well, I can support 50%, but a bigger issue for me in terms of performance being a part of evaluation, I think that is critical. Because I view education as two pieces, and sometimes we forget the first piece. We often think about the teaching part, but we never include successful education includes two ingredients, the teaching and the learning. And that the process most of us use today in evaluating teachers is that we walk in and we evaluate only the teaching part when a principal walks in with a checklist and observe the teaching that's going on. But appropriate education includes both teaching and learning. And so you're not a successful teacher until you've also transferred that knowledge successfully to the student. So we have to also assess the learning in determining just how effective a teacher has been. We can't just assess the teaching, but we got to assess, have you also been successful in fulfilling the other part of that proper education component, and that is the what? Learning. So I think that performance has to be included. 50% I could live with, but I think the most important factor is that it has to be a part of that decision in terms of whether you have a real competent teacher or not, is that you got to evaluate the end result, and that is the learning as well as the teaching.
Yes, appreciate your testimony. Fill out a witness form, and I'm